everyone, and welcome back to Mind Matters, where we talk about mental health, college, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gabriella, and today we'll be talking about procrastination and why it is completely normal and not to be ashamed if you do it. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, what does procrastination mean? It means a voluntary, unnecessary delay of tasks despite knowing it will cause negative consequences, largely functioning as a subconscious coping mechanism for stress, anxiety, or fear of failure. Like, for example, have you ever, as a kid, told your parents about a school project that is due the night before, and you're now just saying something, and your parents are looking at you like, why? We've all done that as a kid, I'm pretty sure, and little did we know that's when we really started to use procrastination. Now, we were kids, and we didn't know any better at that time because we were like, oh, well, I thought it wasn't important. How has our use of procrastination changed, you may ask? Well, it really depends on the person and their habits because it changes as the person changes. Like, for me, for instance, I use procrastination now, even still in school, because let's be real, no one really loves school. I don't, so I would hold off on doing homework until the last minute because I love working under pressure. Even in high school, even though it stressed me out till the nines, I didn't care until it forced me to give it my all on my assignments in school and I would still get a decent grade. Now, does that apply to college? Somewhat. Sometimes you really have to be on time with your assignments and make sure that they're done correctly because the longer you wait, the harder they can become, and teachers slash professors will look at you like you just don't care. Because college, really, you're the one fighting for that grade. They're just in charge of giving it to you. Now, do I use procrastination? Yes and no. If I have a deadline, then I don't because I have something that keeps me on my toes, knowing if I miss that deadline, I'm cooked. But it's a different story. If I don't have a deadline, then I will use procrastination. And I will use it way too much, and it will end up stressing me out about something that I need to do. So don't be like me, kids. If you give yourself deadlines, you know what I mean? If you have something that's not due until like in a few months in advance and you don't want to work on it right then and there, at least give yourself a deadline to have it done maybe a few weeks before the actual due date. Um, there are two more things that I do want to cover before I end today's episode. This one might be a tad bit more short. And those are, should we be ashamed about procrastination and tricks and tips to combat what I like to call the procrastination demon? Starting with, should we be ashamed that we use procrastination? The answer is actually no. We all do it. Even adults do it. And it's no one's perfect because we're all human. And that is perfectly okay if you use procrastination. It's actually normal to push and procrastinate. And, things get backed up because you're sick or you have issues that have came up and those take up more time to get done and take care of. And that's okay because life loves to throw curveballs at us, especially when we aren't looking. Now, the tips and tricks to combat the procrastination demon, he kind of left us a message. He said, "You can't get rid of us. You can't get rid of me, you foolish person. I will always be with you." That's what he said. Kind of rude, but we can't let this stop us. So here are some tricks and some personal tips that I use myself. Number one is to list out the things in order from most important to least important. For example, like for pay rent, bills, rent, cook, clean, dinner, pack lunch, shower, etc. If you tend to get lost or always picking up your phone, using it as a timer can kind of help you, like a pro bono timer, working for 25 minutes and a break for 5, and then continuing on from there until you either finish what you are working on or you start to cross off things from your list. Definitely take small steps. Don't make your list too full. Keep it small and work your way up so that way you don't stress yourself out too easily because it's very easy to stress yourself out if you put 1,000 things on your to-do list. If you start with 5, 10, even maybe just 2, depending on how you function, that can definitely help you. If you are working on homework, possibly start your list from hardest to easiest, or easiest to hardest, depending on the assignments and how many you have. But it also depends on how many classes you have. If you're a college student, high school, your schedule is kind of already made. College, you kind of have to you kind of make your own schedule after your first semester of your first year. And if you're someone like, for example, let's say math is your hardest and you don't want to spend all day doing math, then maybe you'll save that for last. Or if you have any project or something that's a really big project and you want to get that started, maybe put that first and you would continue on from there. Lastly, keep trying, don't give up, keep pushing to get these things done because at the end of the day, you got it. You're the important person. No one else is gonna keep trying to just jump in and say, hey, I need to do this. It's okay to tell them, hey, I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff going on. It's okay to just, be honest with someone and say, yeah, I'm so packed right now that I just can't even take anything else on my plate. I need to get a few of these things cleared off first before I can take on another big thing. The thing about this podcast, it's supposed to be raw and unfiltered, so I love to keep any mistakes that I've made, whether I've messed up while talking or stumble over my words. I love to keep them in so that way viewers like yourself can hear a real and raw podcast. I don't want to keep re-recording or cut out mistakes because I love people to actually hear how raw and authentic I sound. Well, folks, that is it for this episode of Mind Matters, and I'm your host Gabriella, and I hope to see you again for the next episode where I will actually be talking about myself and my own mental health in college and how I'm handling that while being out of state. Until next time, that is it for me. Bye, and I love y'all.